the challenge around, isn't this the 70s revisited, the open space classrooms of the 70s. The interesting thing in education is that ideas that are good come up, sometimes are not implemented well for various reasons, and then they fade away. But if they're really good, they come back and stay. And so why might learning environments come back in a different way today and stay? My suggestion is that in the 70s, teachers did not have sophisticated enough practice in general to know how to use those spaces and how to work with students for learning. I mean, you could go into some of those spaces and the learning was brilliant because the teacher was brilliant in the pedagogy they were using. But a lot of teachers didn't have the pedagogical strategies and approaches that were actually going to help them do that. Often too, they had not developed what I call the soft systems with the students. Like here at Waimarie, when they originally started experimenting and changing and trialling different ways of working, one of the first things was that the students weren't used to it. They'd learned a set of rules and now the rug had been pulled out from them. So you actually have to develop the soft system, saying, okay, if I'm changing that, what are the children what are they used to doing, and how might I help them learn how they need to operate in that space? And that's the key thing about why we need learning environments that are different, because it's actually forcing the teachers to help those students learn how to be in those spaces. And so that's a really, really important point. It's actually about realising it's a very complex system. It's about space, it's about what I'm doing as a teacher, it's about helping the students learn to work in that space, and in the process, getting to that idea of results plus. I'm still worrying about literacy and numeracy, but I'm actually going to add to that and make sure they're learning the capabilities of being a lifelong learner too. So what does it look like when it's working really well? And how the kids are involved? For me, a great example was here when at one stage the teachers were experimenting about removing the desks and saying, look, if we had fewer desks, we'd have more room to do other activities, we'd have more settings we could set up. And the students were saying, oh, I want a desk. But when you ask the question, why do you want a desk? And you keep asking why you want a desk, what it eventually got down to was they wanted a tote tray. And the desk and the tote tray had been together, and so up until that point, they wanted a desk. But once you got to the bottom of it, it was, I want somewhere where I can put my things. So if you want somewhere you can put your things, how could we do that? Well, we could do it lots of ways. You could have tote trays, we could have, you could have a bag spot, you could have all sorts of things, but it doesn't have to be a table. So the big key question is asking why, till you get down to the learning reason as to why you may want to have some spaces or furniture or whatever the way you want.